Well, you know what, we'll go ahead and get started. And this is very casual today. I'll put it up on the big screen for now. But if Gary and I are the only ones here, then we might just give us a second to reconfigure and I'll just sit at the table with Gary. So thank you everybody for attending the fiscal year 2020 2026 round 20 workshop for the Clean Ohio grant program. Hold on one second. And please, anybody chime in if, oh, this isn't working. Sorry, chime in if you're having any issues. And I'm already having an issue with advancing the slides. There we go. We're joined by many people, including Nick Rose, who's our program representative with the OPUWC. He's going to be speaking a little bit later about some specifics with the statewide program. I'm Megan Cheney, Senior Planner with the County Planning Commission. I'm also the district liaison for the Clean Ohio program, which means I call Nick and bug him about once a week. The agenda, we're going to go over the Clean Ohio program, the purpose, its importance, the legislation and administration, before moving on to what the eligible projects are, what the eligible activities and applicants are. Then we'll do a deep dive into the application process. Nick will cover the OPWC application process. I'll talk about the District 1, the specific to Cuyahoga County, our process and our evaluation methods, and then additional requirements and protocols. There is a lot of information there, and we have a lot of embedded links in the presentation. The presentation will be up on our website, so make sure to just click on those links for the various web pages that connect to either our website, OPWC's website, specifically about Clean Ohio, as well as various documents that are of real importance. And then we'll talk about what's specific to 2026, including the funding, the schedule, what is new in terms of the policies and the application process. So the Clean Ohio program, as many of you know, helps to fund the preservation of open spaces, sensitive ecological areas, and streamside corridors, including lake shoreline as well. So it is a grant that covers 75% of costs relating to preservation of open space, wetlands, streamside forests, natural stream channels, floodplains, riparian corridors and shoreline, as well as the protection of rare, threatened, and endangered species, and open space planning. So just to highlight the importance of this program, you can see our land use map of Cuyahoga County, and over 50% of it is devoted to residential uses, and roughly 85% of the land within Cuyahoga County is developed. So you see just 15% is devoted to green and natural areas, parks and open space. So you can see how important it is to conserve what we have left, enhance what we can, and make it more accessible. In Cuyahoga County, the Clean Ohio program has had a lot of success. For just District 1, or for the past 25 years, there have been 144 projects submitted. Of that, 101 projects have been funded, so it's a pretty good success rate. Roughly $60 million have been awarded, and that's resulted in 2,800 acres of natural areas and green space being protected or enhanced, and over 77,000 lineal feet of riparian corridors also being protected. So the authorizing legislation, the Ohio Public Works Commission was created in 1987 with the adoption of the Section 164 of the Ohio Revised Code. And the OPWC was tasked with the administration of the State Capital Improvement Program, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, having to do with the enhancement of roadways, sewers, all that great infrastructure that communities need funding for. In 2000, the Clean Ohio program was created also with that section 164, specifically 16420 through 16427. And OPWC was further tasked with the implementation of the Clean Ohio program in addition to the SCIP. And it is dictated, the oversight of the program is dictated by the Ohio Administrative Code, also section 164. And there are the links to those sections of code if you're interested in looking. A lot of the language has been incorporated into the documents and the guidelines put out by OPWC and by the District 1 NREC for your reference. Obviously, it's fairly similar, although simplified. So the administration of this comes down to separate districts that the state is broken into based on population. We are District 1. There are 19 various districts. The 19 districts are also for the administration of the SCIP program, which is the capital improvement, the great infrastructure program. So those 19 districts were created so that there's oversight from OPWC as well as local guidance from the place where those grant dollars will be allocated. So just to give you kind of a visual about that, the oversight and how this all works. So OPWC has been tasked with the administration of those two programs. They approve both the DAPWIC, which is the Public Works Integrated Committee for District 1 that integrates or that administers the state capital improvement program, the grant infrastructure program. And also the NREC methodologies. NREC is the Natural Resource Assistance Council, which is the council that administers the Clean Ohio funds. So OPWC gives both approved methodologies for both of those entities, gives final approval for the recommended projects, and then ultimately awards the project funds. So you see how these three entities are interrelated. OPWC oversees the DAPWIC, which administers the state capital improvement programs. The DAPWIC then appoints the members of the NREC, which is the Natural Resource Assistance Council, that administers the Clean Ohio program. And one of those members of the DAPWIC is required to be on the NREC. That's Mayor Kumar of Bay Village. And then you see that both entities report back to OPWC. So this is a lot of text, but I just wanted to throw this up there. This is our membership roster. This is available on our website. We have lots of wonderful people on this, but we have the OPWC and the ORC also stipulate who needs to be on this natural resources. And of the 11 members for this NREC, one member needs to come from that DAPWIC, as I mentioned, that's Mayor Kumar. Another from Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District. And we have with us Carla Regner, who's new to the NREC this past year, and she's on to learn more about the project. The other 9 members are appointed from various organizations that have a stake and specific knowledge in land use and conservation. And those include governmental organizations, environmental organizations, park districts, agricultural organizations, and planning, business, and real estate. And we also have with us Jennifer Kuzma, who's been elected as a representative from that planning, business, and real estate organization from First Suburbs Consortium. And there must be at least one representative from each of these groups, and you see there we meet that requirement. So county planning also has a role in this. We have in our office provided administrative support services to the District 1 NREC since the program began in 2000. So we provide help with implementation and distribution of application materials, development of the project selection process, evaluation of submitted applications, and assistance to eligible applicants and the NREC. So eligible projects, activities, and applicants. And there's a lot of overlap with within these different categories, but broadly speaking, you have open space, riparian corridors, and open space improvement projects. 1 second. So for open space, there's fee simple acquisition projects, acquisition of development rights through tools like conservation. acquisition or enhancement of land to connect natural areas to form. Riparian corridor projects can take the form of the simple acquisition of lands adjacent to those riparian or shoreline corridors, acquisition of easements for the protection of those lands, reforestation and enhancement of those lands to help the health of the water body. And then open space improvement, that can include the construction or enhancement of facilities on properties previously acquired by Cuyahoga Green Space Conservation Funds. And those are low impact in nature, so trail development and other small improvements to help access or enhance educational opportunities. My clicker has stopped working. You know what? Hold on, everybody. I'm just gonna disconnect here. Okay, can everyone hear me okay? Feel free to just jump in there if you can hear me okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. All right, is that better too? I'm sorry that was echoey. It seemed that the Metro Parks were at the Metro Parks and they did mention they were having some connectivity issues. So hopefully this will be a little bit better. So here are some examples of some local projects that have been done. Open space, the expansion of Euclid Creek Reservation was an acquisition project. The Riparian Corridor project, West Creek Confluence project that was done years ago, acquired lands close to the intersection of West Creek tributary and the Cuyahoga River to enhance stream function. And then open space improvement, the Lower Big Creek Trail Connector project took land that was already acquired and enhanced accessibility by building trails. So activities, there are the eligible activities include acquisition expenses and planning, implementation expenses, site enhancement or restoration, one-time invasive species removal, as well as the construction or enhancement of facilities on acquired property. For ineligible activities, acquisition for active recreation. So no swimming pools, no tennis courts. Also, hydromodification projects, so the perpetuation of dams, ditches, or channelization, or anything that's deleterious to the aquatic habitat. No aesthetic landscaping or decorative items, except for entrance enhancements and signage. Administrative and monitoring costs need to be borne by the applicant. No solar fields or oil and gas leases. Now, there's also kind of other ones that are determined on a case-by-case basis at the discretion of the various NRACs. And these have to do mostly with low impact sports or things that wouldn't require a lot of modification, like disc golf, equestrian uses, mountain biking, and then dam removal for restoration purposes. There is a list of current eligible, ineligible, and discretionary activities listed on OPWC's laws, rules, and advisories page. Oh, yeah. Hi, Nick.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to say that hydromodification is now eligible as long as it's a conservation project and it serves that purpose.
Okay. I'll make sure to modify that and make that clearer on the slide. Thank you. And it should be said too that any modification or breach of the recorded deed restrictions or the conservation easement that's part of the project agreement. Once that project agreement has been signed, and if it's without the advance written approval from an OPWC director, that's prohibited and projects will be required to return funds. Eligible applicants include local subdivisions, that's counties, cities, villages, townships, nonprofit corporations that are exempt from federal income tax and have a conservation activities as their primary part of its mission. So it should be said that eligible applicants all have to have, and then also special districts, including soil and water and park districts or authorities. Now, eligible applicants have to have an approved subdivision code, and that's something that's available on OPWC webpage that will give you guidance for obtaining that, and you can also talk to Nick. But it should be mentioned that not all nonprofits are eligible. Nonprofits such as CDCs, although they have subdivision codes, since they don't have conservation as part of their mission, they are not eligible. So application process, quickly as an overview, there's one side with the OPWC requirements for their applications. And then we have at the NREC, the District 1 NREC has an application supplement. And then there are required attachments that we'll go over as well. So the applicant is responsible for making sure that all documents are complete and accurate and submitted. All of these documents go on the WorksWise website, and they are due by Friday, June 20th. By 4:30 p.m. So, and if an application is late or incomplete, it cannot be evaluated. The application guidelines, so all application requirements are required to be submitted on the WorksWise portal with 11-point font, and we will go over the NRAC protocol and naming convention in just a moment. On the next slide. So you can see here for the OPWC application, we want the organization name _ application. So we want that to follow for each of these. So it's organization _ then supplement, and then the description of whatever that requirement is. So I'm going to hand it over to Nick. He's going to talk about the OPWC WorksWise application.
All right. So the OPWC has most of its program information and requirements located on our website under the Clean Ohio section. Here we outline the application process in its entirety. We have templates for required documents as well as guides. Due to the nature of the program, we can't put everything in writing on there. So if you have any questions, reach out to Megan and I. Next slide. So the WorksWise platform is our online platform where all project management and business with OPWC is conducted. This is where you'll apply for funds and request disbursement of funds. This is where you'll close out your project. You can view your project, disbursement statuses, and view your application files. We have training materials linked here and on our website. Make sure you give yourself ample time ahead of time to apply in case you encounter any issues with the website and need OPWC's technical assistance. I recommend making sure the person in your organization authorized to use WorksWise has a login well in advance to avoid any of those hiccups with the deadline. You don't want to encounter issues, an hour before the deadline, and then your application's disqualified and all that work you put in doesn't matter. All agreements will be sent out to the CEO via a WorksWise automated email system, and then they'll e-sign through that link. And then the project will immediately be recognized as approved once that occurs. We also have a public portal where all published information is located that does not require a login, and that will be that's sort of just any information that's available to the public. It doesn't include project files, but it does include basic project information. All right.
And I think you already went over the customer portal and getting that access.
Yeah. Just if you need access, make sure you reach out to me, and I will get you set up in the system. And you'll receive an email asking you to set your password, and then you'll be in. Okay. So when you start the application, this is the page that you'll see. You'll see up there application/projects. You'll click that drop down. You'll go down to start new Clean Ohio application, and it'll take you to this page. Uh, you'll input your applicant name, subdivision, project name, project type, county, and zip code. Then you'll press enter to save the application. This will create the project page, and that is going to be your home base for this project going forward. That's where all your files will be. That's where you'll put in your financial information. That is where you'll submit the project. That's where you'll check your status. And that will be also located on your home page under My Applications. So these are the required fields of the application when you get in there. As you see on the right, this is our WorksWise application guide. I definitely recommend downloading that, and it will walk you through the entire process. And of course, you can reach out to me with any questions, and we can get it sorted out. When you're naming your project, make sure you don't. It should be brief and accurate. Don't include project, and if you use number, please use Roman numerals. The project financial resources should act like a balance sheet, meaning your project costs, your improvements in acquisition, and other survey appraisal costs. All of that needs to match exactly your financial resources, which is your local match and your grant. The project schedule, that acquisitions have to begin or be complete within 1 year of the agreement's release, and then post-acquisition activities, improvements, the project needs to be complete within 2 years of acquisition. And then the project description, this should be, again, brief and to the point. It should include all aspects of the project, detail site improvements. Definitely try to avoid extra fluff in there. You're not trying to sell the project. Just describe it, since the agreement pulls its descriptions directly from the OPW, that section of the OPWC application. So we just want to avoid any extra verbiage. And then the required attachments, if you scroll all the way down, there's a section for the files. There's a button that says upload files. You'll click that and you'll upload everything. But make sure that you select the correct submission type. There'll be submission types for your appraisals. There'll be submission types for every required document. And you want to make sure that you select those, because if you don't, the system will not know that the required document has been uploaded, and then it will not let you submit the application. Okay.
Anything else, Nick?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. In terms of the District 1 NRAC application supplement and evaluation, so we have all of these materials available on our website. Well, I'll direct you to our website in just a moment, but we have the application supplement itself, as well as the applicant manual that provides kind of step-by-step directions for filling out the application supplement, as well as the policy manual that describes all the different policies, what's really important to the District 1 NRAC, and how they see best carry out directives from OPWC and the Clean Ohio program. Backtracking just a second, the evaluation process is roughly divided into 3 major phases. So one phase is project eligibility. We'll be looking at whether or not the project and the applicant are eligible before we take any further steps. Phase 2 is preliminary project scoring, which includes site visits, applicant interviews, public meetings. And then phase 3 is the final scoring and recommendations to OPWC. There again are our materials for District 1. Again, this is the project website hosted by County Planning. When you go into and access this presentation, you can click that link, or our website is fairly straightforward, www.countyplanning.us, and you can navigate to the Clean Ohio webpage from there. So the District 1 application supplement also needs to be uploaded as an attachment to the OPWC WorksWise portal on June 20th, along with all the other required materials. This the application supplement relates directly to OPWC policies and the methodology that the NRAC, the District 1 NRAC has developed. So we use this application supplement to review applications along with the OPWC application. And again, this needs to be turned in by that June 20th deadline. And the naming convention you see down there is the organization name _supplement. The first portion of the supplement includes a eligibility checklist. So this is the kind of the first line that we do internally, is making sure that you are eligible by filling out this checklist. I'm going to be going over the 6 major sections included in the supplement for evaluation. So section 1 includes project emphasis, and these are just, it's a fairly long list, but just to check all the factors that and different characteristics that are achieved by implementing the project. So whether that's protection of habitats or endangered species or high quality habitats, preservation of high quality wetlands, or other scarce natural resources. Section 2 is the project description. So that includes the project name and project type. And as Nick said, make sure that it's fairly concise and to the point. Also included in this section is property value information. So include the appraisal report from the ODOT pre-qualified appraisal. And that's a link to the ODOT webpage where you can find a list of those or enter in names of appraisers to make sure that they are an ODOT pre-qualified appraiser. A certified restriction appraisal report is also permitted, also needs to be done by the ODOT pre-qualified appraiser. Verification that that appraiser has reviewed the OPWC standards and procedures document for appraisals. There's included as a link to that document there too, as well as information to found on the county fiscal officer's property valuation site for that property. Also included in this section is a detailed project description. So current conditions, the proposed site improvements, any existing structures on the property, the appraised value of that structure, and how the value of that structure relates to the overall value of the project, as well as plans for that structure if funds are obtained. Specific use and development restrictions included in the required proposed deed restriction, as well as itemized costs. Those estimates need to be from an architect and an engineer, and that needs to be included in the natural resource information attachment. Also in project description is the locational map, and you can use the Cuyahoga County green print mapping tool, also available on our website. We'll go into more later, but that's just an easy way to obtain a locational map. Again, that's on our website. The text there copied over very small. So I just wanted to highlight that first link over to on the right hand of the page, that's the Green Print Explorer mapping tool, which is that takes you there. And then there's also a training module, that very last link in blue, if you would like to take a look at that. And then we're always available if you want to call me to help you out with navigating that. We have great people working in our GIS and Maps department that can help out with that. So section 3, county principles. So the NRAC has 5 guiding principles that it applies when considering projects. 1, does the project preserve natural areas and open space? Does it restore landscapes that have been degraded or destroyed? Does it enhance the quality of those natural areas? And also promote passive recreation and educational opportunities? Does it link natural areas to one another, or link important areas in terms of civic or our cultural heritage? And does it allow public access to these natural areas and or these important heritage areas? Section 4 includes project benefits. So describe the benefits that are anticipated as a result of this project. So these benefits are delineated along the lines of kind of sustainability, those 3 sectors of economic, social, and environmental. And just provide documentation to back up each of those claims as necessary. So just to give an example, economic, does it support a local economic or community development initiative? Does it catalyze any other improvements nearby? Does it increase the value of nearby properties? Reducing any kind of municipal service costs like stormwater costs. Does it develop or redevelop the vacant or underutilized land? In terms of social benefits, does it provide public access? Does it create a community gathering place? Does it provide educational opportunities or links for pedestrians and cyclists? Does it improve public health or safety? The list goes on. Environmental, I know that's the obvious one, improves biodiversity or creates habitat, protects rare, threatened or endangered species. Those need to be consulted on the state natural heritage inventory. That's not linked here, but there's a link provided in the online version of the applicant manual. Does it reduce the quantity or improve the quality of stormwater runoff? Does it restore floodplain functions? All of those type of things. So section 5, community impact. And this is, we'll be going back to the Green Print Explorer here to cover this as well. So Cuyahoga County NRAC feels that it is really the mission in its administration of Clean Ohio to achieve an integrated system of natural areas that benefits all residents of the county, particularly those residents who reside in areas that lack green space or have other disadvantaged communities. So a community impact is informed by an analysis using the following data categories. That includes access to natural areas, which is determined by percentage of impervious surface, percentage of low income, which is percentage of population below poverty level, percent minority population, as well as access to public transit. So that includes percent of populations with a quarter mile of a bikeway or a transit stop. And this information has been gathered from a variety of places, from the 2020 census, the American Community Survey, the Urban Tree Canopy Assessment Update, as well as the GCRTA and NOACA. And all of that data has been combined into the county Green Print Viewer. So what you do is I don't know if you can see my cursor, but that Green Print Explorer right there is what you click on, and it takes you to that mapping page. What you do is you identify the census tract where your project is located, and zoom into that map on the mapping page. If the project is on more than one census tract, it will be the average of those census tracts that it touches. And those census tracts that have zero population, such as those ones that have already been protected, we'll look at a half-mile buffer around the project location to come up with that information. Or I'm sorry, the applicant will. So this is the Green Print Explorer tool. So you zoom in and pan to the correct spot. What you want to do is go to the layers there. It's highlighted in green. You click on boundaries, and then you see down below census tracts. That'll populate the area with all the census tracts. And then you choose the appropriate census tract, and it will automatically pop up with that gray pop-up right there that has all the information needed for the community impact right there, that you can then populate the table within the application supplement. So just to go over that, the points for access to natural areas will be awarded based on the percentage of impervious surface in the census tract. So all the percentages of impervious surface were split up, not quartile, I guess would it be quintiles? I'm not quite sure. But the points are then awarded so that those areas with the greatest percentages of impervious surfaces, the ones that have the greatest need, are awarded the highest points. Same with low income. You can see there that the various quintile, I hope I'm using that right, quintiles are awarded based on need. So the population, if it has a higher population below poverty level, they get that the project receives higher points. Same with minority population. And then access to transit is actually reversed. So if your census tract has good access to bikeways and transit stops, you get more points, because that means that you could potentially, you could potentially serve more people with your project. More people would have access to natural areas with your project. So section 6, other relevant factors. There's local match, level of coordination, readiness to proceed, immediacy, and mineral rights. So local match, again, there's a requirement of a 25% local match, but you receive more points in your application if you are able to supply a greater percentage of those match dollars. Level of coordination requires an explanation of if the project is part of an adopted regional, county, or community plan. A description of what agencies or organizations have been involved in the planning and preparation of this project, and a description of how they have lent their support, as well as letters of support. Readiness to proceed, this kind of has two different sections. So this A is more acquisition based. So documentation of pending land transactions. So either a fully executed contract with the owner or a signed purchase agreement that would get you 5 points. If it's more a letter of or a memorandum of understanding or a contract purchase agreement that does not have all its signatures, it's 3 points. And then applications with confidentiality agreements rather than purchase agreements won't be accepted, nor will projects that have scheduled acquisition that's more than 12 months out from the date of the project agreement. The other readiness to proceed, B, is more activity-based. So a description of how the proposed implementation process will take place. So providing a copy of the use and development restrictions language from the deed restrictions and explaining the implementation process within those restricted uses, include a project schedule, an itemized estimate of probable costs for all the improvements or interventions planned, and documentation of the appropriate permits or permitting process. So projects will be awarded up to 5 points based on the readiness to implement these kinds of activities. Immediacy. So applicants must indicate the following: if the project is vulnerable to being developed, how this development would be detrimental to the surrounding community or the community that is the habitat, the ecological community, and why this project should be a priority this funding round. Mineral rights. Also describe what will happen with the mineral rights. Will the current landowner retain the mineral rights? Will the mineral rights be purchased and transferred to another entity, or will it be purchased and maintained by the applicant? In terms of these, this is just the scoring. So each of these things, you see county principal there, that we went over: the preserves, restores, enhances, links. Those have an opportunity to receive 10 maximum points, and then different weight factors have been assigned by the District 1 NRAC based on what they feel best serves the Clean Ohio program in Cuyahoga County. So there you have benefits as well, and community impact. Hold on one moment, I'm going to close this door. So the total available in all of this, and this is all together on one sheet it's been split up. The total available points, weighted points, is 295 points. And the NRAC has made a policy that projects that are receive below 60% of those weighted points, or 177 weighted points, will not be eligible for funding. So it has to meet that 60% threshold in order to be eligible. So additional requirements. I believe, Nick, were you going to talk about these?
Yep, I can do that. Yeah, so these are the required application attachments. Again, those will be uploaded into WorksWise under the files section at the bottom of the project page. The appraisals, you'll upload those. We'll also need an appraisal review if you're using donated value as match. Authorizing legislation, that's a resolution passed by your board that allows them to enter into an agreement with OPWC. CFO certification of funds, that is a letter from your fiscal officer or CFO that pretty much certifies the local match, whatever that may be. It has to be the full amount. It can't just be some of it, and then it has to be the entire dollar amount. Cooperative agreement, if you are working with another subdivision or another entity. The proposed declaration of restrictions, if we're doing a fee simple purchase, we'll need to see the use and development or use and improvement restrictions filled out so we can make a judgment on whether that is acceptable. And if you're doing an easement, we'll need the easement language as well at the time of application. And a project map, that's helpful so we can visualize what where the project is, what work is taking place, and make sure that is as clear as possible as to where the trails will be, where the project boundaries are, and any other improvements. Purchase contract, that should, that should match what is being prepared in the application. And the resolution of support, those can be a bit confusing, but if you are a political entity, you don't need to worry about it, but other applicants such as nonprofits will need to get a resolution of support from the political entity in which the project resides. All right, yeah, so here are appraisal requirements. Highly recommend that you download and take a look at our appraisal standards document. That will have everything you need to know. Has to be done by an ODOT pre-qualified appraiser, and those are only effective for 12 months. So if for some reason the project has delays and the request to proceed has not been submitted, and that request to proceed is submitted past 12 months of the effective date of the appraisal, you'll need to get a new appraisal, and we can only pay for one of those. And again, if you're using donated value as match on that project, we'll need an appraisal review. And we understand that in counties such as Cuyahoga County, it can be difficult to find land, and sometimes the purchase price of that land exceeds its appraised value. We do allow that up to 5%, as long as it's validated and approved by the NRAC. But that they can still make that purchase if it's above 5%, but anything exceeding 5% cannot be included in the project costs. And yeah, the resolution of support, those can be a bit tricky. So don't hesitate to reach out with any questions on it. Again, if you are a nonprofit, then this is something that would apply to you. You have to get a resolution from the political entity where the project resides. If you are a park district, that doesn't apply, or any other political subdivision does not apply.
And those will be due to, for those projects that need to have Cuyahoga County Council a resolution of support or would like one. Those are due to me on April 21st, no later than 4:30 p.m. It takes a long time for those resolutions to be processed by County Council. And that form, there's an updated form on our project website as well.
Yeah, so here's some additional requirements. If you're erecting signage on the property, we do require that our logo, our Clean Ohio logo, be used. And it doesn't have to be on every single sign, but perhaps on the trailhead sign or some sort of acknowledgement. If you're putting up a sign, we don't require a sign be put up. And yeah, the project schedule acquisition has to be complete within 1 year, and the post-acquisition activities must be concluded within 2 years. And we do grant extensions because stuff happens. Don't hesitate to reach out. That can be done via email. Just shoot me an email with the new date of completion or the new project schedule, whichever part of that it may be, and a brief explanation as to why. And these extensions are at the discretion of OPWC. I usually pretty much always approve them. But yeah, definitely we want to make sure these projects are kept on track and that they don't sort of fall by the wayside and are not complete by the time they need to be complete.
So for this coming fiscal year, 2026, we're on 20 of Clean Ohio funds. The 2026 allocation is roughly $3.2 million. There is a carryover balance of $231,816, and the total available is almost $3.5 million. So the maximum award is 75% of the total project costs, and then minimum match is 25%. And just a little bit more about match requirements. So those can be contributions of money from individuals, state, local, or federal government, contributions of in-kind, like the purchase or donation of equipment, land, easements, labor, and materials, appraised value of property, and then a provision of certification that all local revenues for the project will be available on or before the earliest date needs to be listed in the project schedule. So just to recap, there were some updates in the previous round of Clean Ohio, and I just wanted to bring those up again. One thing passed by the Ohio Administrative Code was that all NRAC shall provide applicants a period of no less than 90 days from the approval of the methodologies to the time that we accept project applications. So we have made sure to accommodate that. I think in all the years that we've administered it, there's been about 3 months of time to between the time you have the applications and when they're due. In terms of appraisals, District 1 NRAC is now accepting the restriction of appraisal reports at the time of application. And if the project is selected for funding, it needs to be converted to an actual appraisal, a full appraisal report. And then again, if that originating document was an appraisal report, the effective date has to be within 12 months of the date of submittal to OPWC for the request to proceed. For structures, District 1, starting last round, allows the acquisition or demolition of existing structures. Existing structures are allowed to remain on the property if they serve as kind of outdoor education centers, or for a place for programming, interpretive uses related to conservation, or supporting conservation in any way. Just so long they cannot be used as a residence. So what's new for 2026? So incorporated into both the application supplement and the manual are contamination concerns. So these reflect the updates to the OAC also made in 2024 that require an applicant, if they are uncertain of contamination on the site, to perform a phase 1 environmental, an ESA, which is environmental assessment, a site assessment. So phase 1, if the phase 1 finds that there is likely contamination, then a phase 2 ESA will be required prior to October 31st of this program year, and will likely, be updated for every program year, because our recommendations are due down to OPWC by November. There is now also a preventative conservation clause added to the restoration activity within that Section 3 county principles. So to account for projects that if they are by protecting that land, they will negate the need for future restoration. So it's kind of this preventative conservation is kind of the same side of the coin for that restoration equation within the application supplement. Also, improvements within easements. OPWC now allows improvements within easements so long as both the landowner and the easement holder are OPWC eligible applicants. And lastly, resolutions of support. We've updated our language within the applicant manual to be more in line with the language provided at the state, just for clarity's sake. So the Clean Ohio, the 2026 schedule, today, March 14th, we have the applicant workshop. Application materials are available and currently posted on our website. April 9th, I will have, and we'll be advertising that on our website, time for application assistance. Should any of you need that, please email me we can also set up a registration link for another Zoom call as well. Monday, April 21st, the County Council resolution requests are due to me. And then June 20th is that application deadline. I noticed that next one needs to be updated a little bit, but in that time between the application deadline and over the next several months, the preliminary screening of the submitted applications will happen. And then sometime in July, we will be scheduling site visits with all the applicants and members of the District 1 NRAC. And then we will be having applicant interviews. That date is likely to change. I found out that some of the NRAC members are not available. But sometime in late July will be applicant interviews, followed up by preliminary scoring and final recommendations. So, and here's our contact information. I can go ahead and email all this out as well. But that's just for me and for Nick. And then any questions? I know we went through just a ton of material. And there's even more to be learned. So please, whatever questions you have, we'll be happy to answer them if we can.
Yeah, hi, this is Deanie. Can you share this slide deck?
Yes, it'll be, yep. Well, it's going to be posted on our website. So
Okay,
I'll send that to all of you, the link directly to that website where all these materials will be posted.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? All right. Well, please feel free to email me. Let me go back to that page. Or Nick, if you have any questions, we're more than happy to help. And again, all of this material will be posted on our website and the OPWC website is very easy to navigate. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. See you guys.